guys, it's Kenzie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you guys things that I wish I knew before I got Pointe shoes, before I went on Pointe. I really hope this video helps you guys. Look at all my Squishmallow collection. They're so cute. I always joke around, I'm like 18 years old was the time I started to collect Squishmallows, but like not even on purpose. I wasn't just like, I'm gonna collect Squishmallows. It just happened because I love them so much. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna be moving out this year. Like, and this is when I decided to collect Squishmallows. Like, are you kidding? Also guys, before we get into the video, I do have a Patreon where you guys can take class with me and get a whole bunch of other cool stuff. And I also have dancewear, and I come out with pretty cool products, so if you want to check that out, you can. But let's get into the video. So the first thing that I wish I would have known or would have done before I got my first pair of Pointe shoes and before I went on Pointe was I wish that when I got fitted, I tried many different brands before choosing the right one for me. So when I went to get Pointe shoes, I feel like I literally tried on like maybe 3 shoes. And you know, I understand that maybe the store didn't have like that many brands, but I know that they did have more because I know I go there. So I only tried, I don't even know how many brands I tried, but they ended up putting me in one that I don't even know the name of. Like, that's how like random it was. I don't really know why they did that. But I didn't know any better. Obviously I didn't know the brands of Pointe shoes. I didn't know like what I should be looking for, or even that like every brand of shoe is completely different, and I didn't know any of these things. So I kind of just like chose whatever they put me in and were like, oh yes, that's good, like these look great on you. But I really wish I would have took my time to figure out what brand I liked the most before getting my first pair, because it would have saved me probably a lot of struggle of finding my perfect shoe, which was like probably a 3 to 4 year, no, maybe even 5 year struggle. Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So the next thing, which kind of goes like on top of that, is I wish that I would have tried different styles of shoes as well. So this goes in with the brand. So some shoes are pre-shanked, some shoes are really hard, some shoes have a really hard shank or a really soft shank, or you know, just I wish I would have explored more, because I love pre-shanked shoes. They make my foot, I mean, they make my they like make my foot look so much better. That's why I chose gainers, and I never got fitted in gainers. I guess maybe because of the stigma around it, like when I first, but if I would have put that shoe on for my first time, I would have chose that, because the first time I did put it on, which was probably like 2 or 3 years into my Pointe journey, I was in love, and they made me dance so much better, and they made me feel so much more confident. So I really wish I would have just explored a more variety of Pointe shoes. So the next thing that I wish I would have known before going on Pointe was what dead shoes felt like. Oh, I know this is kind of weird, but I remember me and my classmates for like my first year on Pointe, I swear it was probably about a couple weeks into our Pointe classes, we were like, why do my shoes feel weird? Like, why does my toe feel like it's touching the ground? Why does it hurt? Like, you know what I mean? And it's because like these are dead shoes and you have to get new ones. And we were like so oblivious, like we didn't know that you had to get, like, that Pointe shoes broke that fast and that you had to keep getting new ones. So yes, when you feel like your toe is touching the ground and your shoes aren't supporting you anymore, your shoes are dead and you shouldn't use them anymore, and you need to go get new ones, which is unfortunate, but it's the reality. And I never knew that before I started Pointe, so that was definitely a learning curve. Okay, so the next thing I wish I'd known was specific techniques for injury prevention. And this is something that I really learned literally this year after experiencing Achilles tendonitis. So I've been on Pointe for about 7 years, maybe like 6.5. But when you're on Pointe, the articulation and your plie becomes so much more important than if it were just in your flat shoes. Do I know why? No, not really. I'm guessing because when you're on Pointe, you're very like, you're crunching like your Achilles and you're working your calves a lot more, and your soleus muscle, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. So when every time you're in your Pointe class, every time you plie, make that like literally the deepest plie you've ever taken in your life. With your shoes, when you're doing like échappés or literally anything, make sure you literally roll through like this. You know what I mean? Those two things will help you tremendously. The plie thing, guys, I took like so many Pointe classes this year, and usually that would have flared up my Achilles tendonitis so badly. And to my literal surprise, I focused on plieing literally as deep as I could at bar and center, really just working like through my feet, and it really helps my tendonitis. So yeah, if you have overuse injuries that are related to like tight muscles or like anything like that, definitely use your plie more when you're on Pointe. So important. Okay, so I don't have a lot of things I feel like I wish I knew. Those are like mainly it, because I feel like my teachers were really good and like teaching me a lot of things. So I'm gonna read your guys' experiences on Instagram, just so we can like have a whole discussion about Pointe shoes. Somebody said, not all feet are the same, and when getting shoes fitted, to follow the fitter's advice. And I totally agree. Definitely not all shoes are the same. That's why I tell you guys, like, when I like gainers, I'm not really trying to recommend you the shoe. I recommend that you try the shoe, but if the shoe does not feel good on you, don't get the shoe, because every foot is different, every person is different. But I will say that when dealing with fitters, as a more like advanced dancer, I can kind of tell, like, I told her I came in, told her this new European gainer is way too hard for my shoe. It feels awful, I hate it. And then I showed her like my old one, which was like perfect. I love that shoe. And she was like, oh, I like the new one on you. The new one's really good. Like, it looks really good. And I'm like, absolutely not. I can't dance in it. It hurts. It's awful. It feels like a brick is on my foot. So where they do feel like, you know, they want to have your best intention. Also, if you're a more advanced dancer, you've been on Pointe for a longer time, do try to trust like what you feel is right for your foot as well. No one told me to keep my toenails short. Yeah, yes, keep your toenails short, please. It'll hurt so bad. And also, I wanted to talk to you guys about protection for your feet, because I feel like that's super important. And I just want to tell you guys, I don't want to bash any studio, but if you do have a teacher or a studio that tells you that you cannot wear protection for your feet, I really strongly advise you to reconsider your training, because I think that advice is really, really harmful to you, and it can be very harmful to your feet. It's a very old school traditional way, and because they didn't have as much technology back then as we do now, but as dancers, we shouldn't be expected, just because it's traditional, we shouldn't be expected to dance in pain. So yeah, and if they tell you that you can't wear gainers, it's the same kind of thing. It's a new technology. It works amazing for some dancers like me. And if they tell you that you cannot wear them, but you really love the shoe, I advise you to seek some new training. It's kind of like, okay, I'm kind of like stupid when it comes to sports, but hold on, let me get my props. So I don't play basketball, but here we have an Air Jordan 1, and here we have an Air Jordan 11. So if you've tried one of these shoes on, they're very just like just not comfortable. Like, in my opinion, they're just like thin, and they're just not supportive. But when it comes to the Air Jordan like 11, or just something that was designed like later on, there's just more support, more technology, more something that's better equipped to be running and training and doing all this. So telling a dancer to not use protection for their feet, or to only use a certain kind of Pointe shoe, is just like telling an athlete that you need to use a shoe from like 70s, 80s, 90s. Like, no, like that makes no sense. I do recommend to wear toe spacers and toe pads to prevent you from getting bunions, which kill, or blisters or anything like that. And it'll also make your shoes fit more snugly, but obviously if you like wearing shoes without protection, that's totally your choice. This girl said how hard finding the right shoe can be, and you're totally right. It's extremely frustrating. I had to get refitted and refitted and refitted, and found my right shoe like literally last year, and I've been on Pointe for 7 years, so it's a long struggle. Oh my gosh. Okay, somebody said playing it safe is actually more dangerous. Just try going for the top of the box and don't be shy. Wow, that's actually so true. In Pointe and in ballet in general, playing it safe or kind of just like holding back can actually make you dance worse and be more dangerous. Say when you're going for a piqué arabesque on Pointe, if you don't push and you don't do it confidently, you probably won't get on your box. You might slip under yourself. That's definitely so true. I know it's scary at first. Like sometimes Pointe still scares me because sometimes I still fall. But definitely having that attack and confidence, which will be, you will get there. It's definitely a game changer. Okay, somebody said, I'm going on Pointe for the first time on Tuesday. How could I feel less pain? Is it ever going to stop? So I recommend, if you're feeling a lot of pain, even after having like ouch pouches or you know, toe pads and spacers, and you've breaking them in, like you've manually breaking them in. If they still like hurt so bad to the point where you can't dance, I recommend trying a new shoe that's softer. For example, like Russians. Like Russians are not for everybody. They definitely hurt so bad and they take a really long time to break in, especially like with some people's feet. I know mine are like that. So if it's really hurting you that bad, I do recommend trying a softer shoe. Like Freeds are good. I feel like maybe Suffolks. But I feel like Russians and maybe like Grishkos are probably like really hard. They might have softer shoes though. I'm not sure. Like I'm not like super knowledgeable on that. But then again, like Gainers are very cushiony and they feel like pillows compared to Russians. But it all depends on what works for you. But yes, don't torture yourself. It's not worth it. Okay guys, so I hope this helped you in any way, shape, or form. And if you've been dancing for a while and you have any tips for anybody, leave them down below. And if you're new, or if you've been dancing for a while, I mean, I still have questions. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll see you guys next week. Stay confident. Bye!